Hello dear students, in today's video we are going to discuss how to attempt the law paper in your CA and CS examination. Now in your examination in the law paper sometimes some unique things happen. For example, sometimes in any question it may be possible that there is an error and you don't know what to do about it. Sometimes it may seem like the language of the question is very difficult, or it may seem that that question is out of the syllabus. Sometimes you might wonder how many questions are coming from the past exam, how many questions are coming from the RTP, how many questions are coming from the study material. You might wonder if you can just do the study material questions or the revision test papers or past exam papers and sit in the examination. You might wonder what is the weightage of the amendments. So all of those points and some more additional points that will be very helpful for you in writing the law paper, we'll be discussing those in this video. So let me take you to my desktop and let's start off.
First of all, let's talk about amendments. See, in your company law paper, there are some amendments that come for every single attempt. Now, in December 21 examination, also there were many amendments that were applicable. Out of them, some of the amendments were actually asked for 5 marks. So, in your 70-mark theory paper, 5-mark total weightage was actually for the amendments. Apart from that, also there were certain other amendments that were not actually covered in this examination. But because those amendments were not covered in December 21 examination, does that mean that they are not going to be covered in your coming exam, which is your May 2022 examination? The answer is no. It's highly likely that this amendment actually falls in your May 22 examination. Along with that, also in your May 22 examination, there are some more amendments that are applicable. All of these amendments, they do have weightage in your examination. So if you simply look at these amendments, they are going to be ranging from 5 mark to 6 mark in your examination. So make sure that you definitely do these amendments, right? Next important point I want to highlight is that please read the question very, very carefully to understand the requirement of the question. Okay, sometimes we are in rush and we are in the stress of completing the paper in the examination. So we don't exactly read the question very, very properly to understand what is the question actually demanding. Okay, sometimes the language of the question is framed in such a way that we may think that this is asked, but actually something else might be asked. Something very simple might be asked. So you have to be very careful when you're reading the question. Okay, so for example, let's just take one of the questions from December 21 paper. For example, you can see this one question in your December 21 paper. Okay, now this is a question that is coming for 3 marks. If you read this question carefully, this question is asking about the financial statement of the subsidiary companies. Okay, but if you are in rush, you might think that in this particular question, the financial statement of the holding company, the details relating to that is being asked. You may confuse it with the consolidated financial statement. Okay, so you can pause the video and you can read this question and you can try to find the answer of it. This question is not relating to the financial statement of the holding company. It is actually relating to the financial statement of the subsidiary company, but you have to be relaxed. You have to read the question carefully to understand the requirement of the question. The next important point I want to highlight is that sometimes in your examination, the questions that come, they require you to have some common sense. It's not always you having a lot of knowledge that is going to give you the right answer. Sometimes the questions are framed in such a way that they are testing whether your stress levels are at par or not, whether you're able to use your common sense and come with a normal answer or not. Sometimes those questions, they don't check your knowledge, but they are framed in such a way that you have to use common sense to answer them. Okay, let's try to take an example for that as well. Now here on the screen, you can see question number 2. In question number 2, part 1 of the A part, that is our relevant part that we are discussing. In this, basically, the word demat account has been used. Now, this may confuse the students, but here basically we are talking about joint holders of the shares. While reading the question, you might think that this question is out of the course, but actually it's not out of the course. It just requires you to have a little bit of common sense. Let's take one more question. So here we are taking question 2C part from December 21 paper. Now, this question is from agency. Okay, now the second part of this question is a little tricky. Here you have been asked that what is the liability of the principal in case the goods are prohibited goods. Okay, now there is no specific provision as such in the Contract Act that we have discussed relating to prohibited goods. Okay, but here you have to be a little relaxed. You have to see what is the essence of the question. Here we are talking about an illegal activity. Okay, so if the principal enters into an illegal activity, what are the repercussions? The next important point is that sometimes in your paper, there are some errors also. Okay, so when there are errors in the question, what do you exactly do? Sometimes you may catch the errors, sometimes you may not catch the errors. What happens is that generally if you catch these errors in the examination in some question, then you get confused. You sometimes want to just point out in the question that there is an error. But see, in our examination, our aim is to score the maximum marks possible. When you see some errors in the question paper, what do? Do you highlight these errors in your answers? The answer is no. See, in the examination, sometimes students get stressed out when there are errors and they don't know exactly how to handle it. And sometimes very, very important details in the question, they also have errors. So what do you exactly do? Okay, so in that case, what you can do is, see, of course, you will have to answer the question, and you will have to answer the question in such a way that you score the maximum marks. Okay, so if required, you can state some assumptions. Okay, let's say a very important detail in the question is missing, or it is stated in such a way that it is causing some problem. Okay, in that case, you state your own assumption, and based on your assumption, you write the answer. If there are two possible answers, then write those two possible answers in both the assumptions. Right, basically you have to display that this error has not affected you mentally, and you know the answer, and this is the answer, and if the circumstance is like this, then this is the answer. So you have to basically flaunt your knowledge. Okay, let's take some examples from the December 21 paper for understanding. For example, let's talk about the first question. The first question is with respect to one person company. Okay, now in this question, as you're going to read the question, you will realize that the name of the one person company is Ekta Readymade's Garments Limited. Now, if you know, one person company's name does not end with limited, it ends with OPC Private Limited. However, here the name is ending with limited. So here the name of one person company is not written correctly. Okay, but it is not affecting the question as such. It's just a small error. So you have to simply ignore it. You have to see the essence of the question, and you have to basically answer the question. Let's take one more example. So here we are taking question number 5B part of your December 21 paper. Now in that, the third part of this question, it has a small little error. See here, the question that has been asked is, how much amount can be accepted as deposits from public under section 73 of the Companies Act? Okay, now if you're very clear with the chapter relating to deposits, which is chapter number 5, then you will know that section number 76 deals with deposits from the public, and section number 73 deals with deposits from the members. However, here the question is, how much amount can be accepted as deposits from the public under section 73? Both of these are controversial. They are talking about different things. Section 73 talks about deposits from the members, whereas public deposits, they are covered in section number 76. So here you may get confused as to whether you have to answer in terms of deposits from the public or deposits from the members. In that case, what can you do? Well, see, answer in both the things. Okay, answer how much deposits can be accepted from the members and how much deposits can be accepted from the public. So answer by stating both of these points so that you have no chance of losing any marks. Now, the next important thing I want to highlight is that most of the questions, they came directly from the study material and from past exams. Okay, so some of the questions, even without changing any basic details, just by changing the names and just by changing the figures, they came from study material. And some of the questions, they were directly from the past exams. So what do you learn from it? You learn that you have to make sure that you do the study material questions properly. Okay, and along with that, at least do 4 past exam papers. Okay, along with that, if you can do RTPs, that is revision test papers, then please make sure you do them also. If you're able to solve mocks, then please solve them also. If you're lucky, the questions are going to come directly as it is from these revision test papers, past exam papers, and also the study material. Now when I say study material, it includes the examples that are stated inside the study material, as well as the questions that are stated at the back of the chapter. Both of these are equally important for your examination. Another crucial thing that I noticed was that this time the number of questions were more. Instead of asking one question for a higher weightage, small questions were asked for small weightages from different parts of the chapter or from different chapters. So basically you had to answer more questions, and for that you needed more speed to complete the paper. It also means that small little points from the chapter, they are important. So that basically means that you have to be very thorough when you're studying corporate and other laws. You have to be careful of every single section, every single small point also. In a particular section, you might have small little things here and there that you might think they're not important, but they are actually important. They can be weighing you 2 marks or 3 marks in the examination. Question can definitely come from any part of it. So broadly speaking, your paper comes from the study material, past exam papers, conceptual clarity, RTPs, mocks, amendments, and you have to use your common sense also sometimes to interpret these questions, because they may be very easy compared to what you think. So that's it in this video. I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you again in another video. All the very best for your examination. Bye bye.